Very good afternoon to all my dear students. Today, the topic of our lecture is decision making and selection of alternatives. The subject name is Engineering Economics and Industrial Management. In this very topic, we'll be discussing about the various decision making alternatives and decision making strategies that are being followed while we are investing some money or while we are investing some of the belongings or things in some matters or in some ventures. So what is the rate of return in that case? What is the payback period in that case? That we'll all be discussing about in this very topic of decision making and selection of alternatives. So let's start with it now. In this way topic, we'll be taking a decision making in four very steps. There are four methods by which we can judge the actual decision making and selection of alternatives. The first method is by present worth method. Second is your rate of return method. Third is your payback period method. And fourth is your uniform annual cost method. These all four methods which actually make us understand that what is the basic need of the this topic of your decision making and selection of alternatives, and what while we are making any decision for any investment or while we are making any decision for any of the venture that we are planning to spend our money on, we should always be very much clear that if we are spending this much money on this much venture, I should be clear into my mind that this is the most appropriate and this is the most important thing that I need to do. Okay, that is what I need to understand in that very case. So that is the most important part of this. So these four methods, the present worth method, the rate of return method, the payback period method, and the uniform annual cost method, these four methods will actually help me out in understanding that how will I judge that I have taken a decision of investing this much of money in this much venture. That means how much my decision is right. Is my decision right of spending my money on this much venture or not? So these four methods will help me understand this thing into my future. So let's start with the first method, that is your present worth method. So present worth method, in this method, the present worth of all the cash flows in future is found out. In this method, we actually find out what is the present worth of all the cash flows which we are going to come in the future. That whatever I'm investing right now, what will I get out of this cash in future? I am investing so and so amount of money in this much venture, in this much field, or in this much scheme. Then what I am going to get back, and in how many years or in how much span of time, that I need to know in this much of first method of present worth method. Okay, so this method will help me out in finding out the actual cash flows in future. So if we take example of this, if I take example of present worth method, then what can be example, best example for this? The best example for this is, suppose we are actually investing some money in making the FDRs or this fixed deposits. Now fixed deposits are like that. We have deposited. Suppose I have deposited an FDR of 1 lakh rupees in State Bank of India, and FDR period is 5 years. So for 5 periods, I have a locked my money of 1 lakh in the bank in a bank. Okay, so that means this for 5 years, I have my money is being locked in this much of your venture or in this much of your period. Now after 5 years, what is the amount of interest that I'm going to get on that 1 lakh rupees? That should be known to me. Okay, that means I will get, for after 5 years, I'll get 1 lakh to 1.5 lakhs. That means 50,000 is the total interest that I have earned on the present money that I'm going to invest today after 5 years. So this is actually the method which help me understand that right now my money worth of my money is 1 lakh rupees. But after 5 years, the worth of that 1 lakh rupees will be 1.5 lakh rupees. Okay, that means I'll get amount of 50,000 as a profit for blocking my money for 5 years. So this is what is the present worth method, which will help me understand that this method is going to be beneficial to me in this much way. In this much way, it is going to help me out that whatever I'm spending right now is going to give me a profit in my future days. And this method will also make me understand all my future expenditures and revenues which will be calculated for various alternatives, and the net present value of the total cost forms the basis of comparison. So right now I'm this is my money, and I'm spending this much of money on this much of people or this much of things. But after 5 years, what is the guarantee that after 5 years also I'll have this much of money with me? I have so many expenditure plans. There are so many number of expenditure plans are there with me. No, might be there in future. I will not have such kind of money with me. So right now if I'm having it, and it would also tell me that in future you can spend it, or you can have that much expenditures upon for that money. The main thing over here is that if I have 1 lakh rupees with me, then and I'm spending that 1 lakh rupees on one venture. Suppose I'm spending that 1 lakh rupees on a single venture. Okay. And I have locked my money in FDR for 5 years. And after 5 years, I'll get 1.5 lakh rupees. But at the same time, if I'm not spending that money, if I'm not investing my money in that FDR for 5 years, and I am fulfilling all my expenditures with those 1 lakh rupees for a year, then also it is good for me. It also good for me, na? Because it is my choice basically. It is the choice is mine. That should I spend my money? Should I spend my all my ventures on this much of money? Is that important for me right now, or my expenditures, my daily necessities, my electricity bills, my house rent, my house loan, my car loan, is that important for me right now? That is actually upon me. I only have the present worth of my money with me right now, but what will be the consequences of this in future? That should also be known to me. That is also very much clear if I am actually understanding this in a proper way. If actually I'm understanding this in a proper way, then I will get a complete understanding. Yes, this is the consequences, or this will be the consequences if I'm going to spend my money on this much of venture in future. This is the amount of money that I'm going to spend in this switch of venture. That is also one of the most important, or one of the most crucial point that I'm going to understand in this, and that should be understood to me also, because this method will help me understand this. How I have told you that if I'm going to plan my investment, then also you tell me that if you're locking your money for 5 years, you'll get this much amount of money in future. And if I'm not spending my money in that investment, then also you'll be telling me that if you're not spending your money this much of in your future, then also what is going to happen is, then also what is going to happen? Then also I'll be fulfilling all my necessities and commodities by fulfilling this amount. And if I'm not spending my money on these commodities at like house loan, like car loan or mobile loan, or this electricity bills, your house rent. So if I'm not spending the actual necessities on this much money on them, then also I have to pay the consequences for that. I have to pay the penalties that will be more crucial and that will be more hazardous for me. So it will clear both the pictures to you. And this method is that much beneficial for me. Should I invest or should I not invest? What is the most beneficial? That is the most crucial point out of here, and it will actually help in that. This is the most beneficial point in this. Okay, next point over here is rate of return method. Next is the rate of return method. In this rate of return method, the profit is considered as return on investment in this method. Now, what is the major advantage of using this rate of return method? The profit is considered as a return on investment in this method. How it is considered as a profit? A return on investment in this method. How the profit is as a return on investment in this method? How this actually what I'm going to spend right now. Okay, what I'm investing right now. Suppose investment is the most appropriate word for that. Right now I'm investing some money on some of the ventures or some of the business plans, but after 5 years or after 3 years or after 1 year, suppose turnover, what is the turnover, what is the amount of profit that I'm going to earn out of it from my investment? That should be also be very much clear to me. Right now I am spending the money. Right now I am investing my money in this much of venture, isn't it? But what is the guarantee that after 5 years I'll get the same amount of money, or I'll get earn some profit or earn some loss in it? So that is the actual rate of return method that will help me out in understanding that this method is going to make you understand the concepts, that how much are you going to find the profit out of it in after 5 years or after 2 years. What is the amount of plan that we're going to spend in this? So profit is considered as return on the investment in this method. Thus profit is calculated after allowing depreciation without tax fixing, expressed as a percentage of original investment for various replacement or investment alternative. So this profit is going to give me the value of profit after making so many ventures in existence. Suppose I'm saying that this is going to help me out in this much of money. Suppose I'm locking my money for a period of 3 years, and after 3 years I'm going to get this much of profit out of it, and that profit is considered after making all the depreciation amounts in them. Depreciation amount means after calculation of all the tax amount, that this is amount of tax that I'm going to spend on it, and this is the amount of tax that I'm going to have on this much amount of money. So this calculation is also done by that method. So I'm going to have that method also in this, that this is the amount of tax that I'm going to pay for it, and that tax amount is actually depreciated out of it. That tax amount will be depreciated out of it. Then after tax also there are certain factors, or there are certain values which we need to know, like we have the depreciation of tax. Then certain investments come with some replacements also. Suppose I'm investing a machine, I'm buying some new machine for my factory, and that new machine will cost me near about 1.5 lakh rupees, and I am planning that this 1.5 lakh of my investment in the machine will earn me a profit in about 2 years. I'll be earning about 2 lakhs out of it, or 2.5 lakhs I'll be earning profit out of it. So that profit is actually made after making all the operation maintenance cost of machine. One thing is there. Second thing is after making all the replacements out of it, what are the various replacement factors? After considering all those replacement factors also, I'll be considering that profit. Then what are the various other factors that are going to make me understand, yes, this is the amount of profit that I'm going to get out of it. After depreciating all the amounts of cost that are going to depreciate the amount of the profit that I'm getting. So net profit is after depreciation of all the net value of depreciating cost, and that depreciating cost may be your tax, it may be your replacements of any of the electronic gadgets or any of the electronic machines that you're working with. It can be any of those other cases, it can be on that. So it is a worthy thing that we are getting this much of return out of this. Suppose we can take another analogy for this in order to explain this method in a more proper way or in a more elaborative way. Suppose that we are having this method is actually giving me Suppose now this is telling me that this I am having a factory of garments, suppose, okay, and I have bought raw material of suppose 100 meters, and for 100 meters I'm going to make 10 dresses of children. I have a garment industry and I'm going to make 10 dresses of children from that 100 meters. Now this investment of 100 meters and labor costs, electricity bill, the water bill, the sewerage bills, and all other emoluments that I'm going to invest for that, making that money or making that profit. I should be very much clear in my mind first that this much of profit or this much of investment that I'm going to make for this amount of money should be earned in how much least time, after how much least time I'm going to get back that money with me. So that should also be very much clear in my mind that this much amount of money I'm going to get back in this much amount of time. So this should be clear into my mind before making any of the specific investments in any of the specific plans. So this is the actual profit that we are going to earn out of our plans. Okay. The next method is your payback period method. Payback period method. The payback period method is the other very important factor that is going to make me understand that what is the actual uh, plans for my investment and what is the actual plans for which I'm going to have the initial investment amount and by how much time I'm going to get it recovered by the net cash flow inflows. Okay, so in this method, actually, I'm going to make and I'm going to understand this thing that initial investment amount is recovered by how much time I'm going to recover my initial investment amount. That is the payback period method. Okay, so this payback period method will actually made me understand that by how much time I'm going to recover my initial investment amount. Okay, so that is your payback period. So in this, can you give an example of how can we explain this payback period method? Suppose that I have initial investment of 10 lakh rupees. Okay, I have initial investment of 10 lakh rupees in my business. And my business is of import and export. I'm going to export some material and I'm going to import some material also. And I'm going to export in some other places. So that kind of a business I'm going to pursue with. So with this initial amount of investment is rupees 10 lakhs. And I'm going to recover this amount of investment by how many years? That is the net cash inflows. I'll get whether I'm going to get that investment, recover my investment back in about, like in small investments or in small, installments, like for 1 lakh, I'll get it for 10 years, or I'll get into 2 lakhs for 10 years for that small investments. So it should be very much clear that by how much time I'm going to get back my initial investment proposals back into my period. So that is the most important method of payback period method. The last method is your uniform annual cost method. The uniform annual cost method is actually the replacement decisions on which replacement decisions are actually made. And replacement decisions are taken on the basis of lowest annual operation and the capital cost. So uniform annual cost method actually makes a decision based on the replacement studies also. It is based on replacement decisions also, that what are the amount of replacements that I'm going to get out of my total money. Okay, I'm going to spend this much of money, and after replacing my replacements of my some of the obsolete gadgets or some of the obsolete machines, what I'm actually going to get from my investment but on the annual basis, annual operation method on the annual basis, and what is the actual capital amount that I'm going to get out of it. So that is the most appropriate value that I'm going to get out of it, and this should be understood and this should be uh, be in a touch in such a way that we are able to extract all the information out of it in a very proper way. So replacement decisions are actually very important on this space, because our annually what we are going to get, or annual interest which we're going to get, is actually depend upon the replacement decisions also. If I'm making so many placements in a year, then even if I'm earning the profit from outside, I'm spending the money again and again. So my profit is not going to help me much in my financial balance. So that is very important, that replacements are to be maintained in a very proper and adequate way, which can give me good returns also. Okay, so that is all about the four methods of your this selection of alternatives and decision making: present worth method, rate of return method, payback period method, and uniform annual cost method. Hope you enjoyed the lecture. If you have any queries, you can ask me at any moment of time. Thank you. Okay. So next topic of our today's lecture is economic analysis of new project. Now, how we can actually judge, or how we can economically say that our new project is going to make us such much profits, and what are the economic burden that I'm going to bear out of my new projects? What is the economic burden that I'm going to bear out of it? And what are the various prospects of new projects starting? If I'm going to start with the new projects, what I'm going to get out of it? Or what are the consequences that I'm going to face if I'm going to start with a new project? That we are going to discuss in this very of topic. So let's start with the first start of economic analysis. Economic analysis of new project is basically divided into two groups. It is divided into two parts. One is your economic appraisal, and second is your financial appraisal. First one is economic appraisal, second one is a financial appraisal. In case of economic appraisal, it is further categorized into six very steps by which we can easily demonstrate, or by which we can easily say that this decision of economic appraisal is going to make my system, or is going to make my investment in a very proper way. I'm going in a proper way, I'm going in a positive way, or I'm getting in a loss way, or I'm in a loss. So that is going to make me judge this decisions of your economic appraisal. Now, economic appraisal is basically based upon the increased output of goods. I am saying that my economy has raised. The government says the economy has raised. Now, economy has raised on which very factors? The first factor, we are saying that if the increased of output of goods has been increased, if I'm purchasing certain amount of goods, and output of the goods that are being purchased right now is going on increasing and increasing. If there is increase in the output of goods, then we can say yes, we have a certain appraisal in the economic, right? If my initially I was selling 20 items per month, but now it has been risen to 30 items per month, that means there is an appraisal of 10 items. That means I have enhanced certain amount of my appraisal in the economic basis. Then this the enhanced services and additional incomes. Then if I'm working somewhere, I'm making a job somewhere, and in order to earn some extra income, I'm working somewhere else too. Okay, I'm working in some company on in some area, and in order to enhance my income, I have started working in some other source also, or I'm earning some online business also, so that I can earn some additional income. This was my basic income that I was getting from my job, but in addition to that, I'm working with some online company also, so that I can earn some additional amount of income. So that is the enhanced services and additional income in the case of your economic appraisal. The next point over here is increased labor wages. If labor wages has been increased, or the workers who are working with me, I have enhanced their wages, then also I'm seeing that economic appraisal has been raised, because I am only going to increase the wages of my laborers or my workers if I am earning a good efficient amount of profit. Then also I can, then only I can say that yes, I can give the wages to my workers. Then the fourth point is a layered government revenues. It means that government revenues, what are the basic government revenues, what we are getting out of it. There are certain schemes on basis of which we are getting certain amount of money from the government. I can get a relief fund from the government. I can get some kind of grants from government for which I can work. Some government institutions or a government sector workers, they get certain amount of revenues from government also. So that is another kind of appraisal. Then is your high earning of the owners of capital. If there is a high earnings of owners of capital, if I'm earning a very good salary, I'm earning a very high capital amount from some of my neighboring areas or some of my areas in which I'm working so well. So that also can help me out in this search of your economic appraisal. Then the higher standard of living. If I have a very good standard of living, if I have a very good standard of living, then I can say yes that I can earn a good amount of profit out of it, and I can earn a good amount of profits have been earned from my business, because only then I can say yes that I have a good standard of living. If I'm hand to mouth, then I can't afford a good car, I can't afford a good big bungalow. If all those standard of living has been raised, that means that I have a good earning also. This also proves that we have a economic appraisal. So basis on all these 6 points, I can judge or I can say yes that I have raised my economic appraisal. Then the second point under this category is your financial appraisal. Financial appraisal includes the financial soundness, first of all. If I am financially sound, if I'm financially sound, I have no issues with any finances. My finance is going good. I'm earning good heavy amount of profits, and I already have a very good bank balance. My finances are going very well. I have a very smooth cash flow. That means that my financial condition is very sound. So that can increase my financial appraisal. Then we have the efficient operation. All my operations are going very well. In whatever business I'm spending the money, or in whatever venture I'm spending the money, I'm earning a very good amount of money out of it. I'm earning a very good amount of money out of it. Then also I can say, yes, I'm earning a good amount of profit and I'm having a good financial appraisal. Then the third point over here is the cost of product. Cost of product is also matter a lot. If I am getting a very good heavy amount of profits out of any product, that means the cost of my product is very effective to my customers. It is very suitable to my customers. That is why they are purchasing my products. Secondly, I owe them with a good quality of products. I give them a good quality of products that make my products to be very successful one in terms of my customers. The next is your return on investment. What is the amount of returns that I'm getting out of my investment? If I'm investing some amount of money in some of the ventures, then after what span of time I'm getting the money out of them, or after what span of time I'm earning good amount of profit out of my spending of money. So that is also very important in this case. Then is the prospects of marketing. What are the various prospects of marketing? What are various marketing strategies that I'm going to follow while making my profit or in the financial appraisal? Because marketing plays a very important role over here. If I have a very good sound knowledge of marketing, my products will be sold worldwide, not a nationwide, it will be sold worldwide. But the thing is, I should have a good marketing skills inside me. If I have good marketing skills, then only I can sell my products at a very good price. Then is the profit ability. What is the ability inside me by which I can say that I can earn a good profit? What is the ability inside me, or what is the ability that I have in me by which I can say that I can earn a good profit? out of my financial appraisals. That is one of the most important factor in this. The next is your effective controls. What are the various effective controls that should be kept in mind while making any of the decisions of financial appraisal? Because when we talk about financial appraisal or when we talk about the finances, I should know all my loopholes of my company. I should be very much known about each and every employee, and I should be very much in touch with my main, team leaders or the main management members, so that I can get in touch with whatever the operations are going on. Then what on what basis these operations are going on, and how to make them more effective, so that we can earn a good amount of profit out of them. Then is the budgeting. Next factor is the budgeting. We should always budget the things first. The thing is that we should always have a proper budget for each and every investment. If I'm trying to invest my money in some prospects or in some schemes, then I should have a proper budget for that. That this much of money I'm going to spend in that, and from this scheme I'm going to get this much amount of money out of it. So this is the amount of my investment, and this is the amount of investment I'm going to get it back. So this is to be known to me. Pricing is also very important over here. What is the amount of actually price that we are spending on it? What is actual price that we are spending upon it? And what should be the actual price in that term also, that if you are spending this much of money on some of the venture, then what is the actual amount of money that should I earn? If I'm making this much of price of my product that I'm going to sell it, then what is the actual amount that I have spent upon this much of price? Suppose I have given a price for a pen is 10 rupees, and the actual price that I have paid for that 10 rupees pen is 5 rupees. So I have a margin of 5 rupees with me. I can earn a profit of 5 rupees up till on a single pen. So this is the amount of margin for me. So pricing is very important. We should always keep some margin of profit as a owner with me, so that I can get a huge amount of profits out of my sold things. So these two factors, economic appraisal and financial appraisal, these two factors actually enhance the economic analysis of the new projects. We can easily enhance and we can easily stabilize our network, and we can easily say, yes, we have economically balanced our system based on economic and financial appraisal. So that is all for this economic analysis of new project. This is all for this very topic. Thank you so much for this.